This podcast was brought to you by Uncle Geeb Productions. Hey guys, and welcome everyone to the Drip and Geeb podcast. I'm your host, Uncle Geeb, and with me is host Drip Media Gaming. We record this podcast live every week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Drip, on today's episode, we're talking about the digital future for the Nintendo Switch. Lots of rumors right now, of course, revolving around the Switch 2, but that's not what we're talking about tonight. We're not talking about Switch 2. We'll mention it, but we're not talking about it. We're mainly talking about the future of physical games, because it seems like our future looks very, very in favor of digital media, but not just digital media, possibly subscription media, and we're going to talk about that. But first,
we are, and I just want to say something. I've already been on this train for years. I just want to say I've already been here. Everybody hates on me for it, tells me how stupid I am because I don't own my games. But who's laughing now, Geeb? Who's laughing now? Me. It's me. It's me. Just letting you know.
Yeah, you laughing? You laughing pretty good there?
I'm laughing. Yeah.
It sounds
I don't know. I'm being funny. But
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm glad we're talking about this tonight, because this is something obviously I get crushed for every time I make a video about it. Comment sections are just like, you don't even own it. You don't even own it. We don't own it anyway. It doesn't matter. And it's going this way whether we like it or not. So I'm glad we're going to have a discussion about it. And all the things we're going to talk about tonight are going to be fun. We have a lot of stuff to talk about with this.
Well, we don't really have that specifically in our notes, but we can start off the episode by talking about that. Do we believe the ownership factor? Because for me, that's an interesting conversation to have on its own. Because it's not that I'm afraid of it's not that I think currently, as it stands with digital games on like eShop, for example, it's not that I believe that we don't own those games necessarily. I may have used that language in the past, but what I mean by own is like, just like I own this water bottle that I have in my hand. You know, what I did is I paid, Walmart or whatever for
a physical thing. You have a thing.
Yeah, like I paid at Walmart X amount of dollars for a case of these that I can then drink and use and then recycle when I'm done. When you go to the eShop, you give Nintendo some money. They give you this product that is not physically owned or physically
basically
owned.
A license for the product.
Yes, but if you think about it too, there's a license for this as well.
Yeah, you're gonna pee that back out, dude.
You pee it right back out. I don't know.
It's gone. It doesn't stay with you forever.
The ownership thing for me is weird. Like it's not like I need to be a caveman and need to own. I can't. No, need to have.
Yeah,
it's not like masculinity like getting in my way. It's more of like DVDs, right?
Yeah, I can go to have the physical collection
in 60 years
just to see it.
Me too, but like in 60 years, I can go to my shelf and I can grab a DVD. You don't technically own that either. It's not like you can distribute that, or you're legally allowed to really rip it or nothing like that.
You're allowed to watch it. You can't do anything else with it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but you can do nefarious things with it, like rip it or stuff like that. But as far as what I'm concerned about is being able to watch it, or in this case, play it in the future, not relying on a service to be available. And that's the thing with the eShop stuff as we have it right now, or any of these digital storefronts. Yeah. As long as it's installed on your machine,
you're good.
You're good. Now, if it's an online game, obviously that doesn't matter whether it's physical, digital.
Right. Yeah.
But if it's a single player that doesn't require an internet connection to open up immediately, it doesn't matter if it's digital or physical. You have that in store. Where my issue comes, what we're going to get to later in this episode, is the subscription model that is pretty much inevitable for this industry. And I don't love that. Drip, I'm sure
I don't love that either. But I want to go a little bit more on this whole ownership thing too, because I've said this too. I pissed a lot of people off. I think I made some like shorts or TikToks or something about it. It doesn't matter. Like for Nintendo, I think it's a little bit different. Because if you buy a Nintendo game, let's just say like a first-party Nintendo game, usually, I mean, not always, because they still have some problems. There's usually just, you get the game on the cartridge, that's it. You know what I mean? There's no extra downloads. But 90% of the time, if you're buying a PlayStation 5 game, any third-party game on the Switch, really, an Xbox game, whatever, if you're buying the disc, you're still downloading stuff. You
Absolutely.
don't even have the full game. So if those servers go down and you're not able to get that day one patch that's there, you may own that game. You may be able to put it into your system, but you're playing the broken old version. And I think I said in that whatever I was talking about, I think I said like Cyberpunk 2077 was like my example, because that game was a
very good example.
Yeah, it's great now. It's great now. When it came out, I mean,
far from it.
It was great to laugh at. It was great to watch all the glitches and all the crazy stuff that happened. I mean, I'd say, Pokemon, the new Pokemon games are the same, Violet. That they got better, but they're actually
not. No,
they're actually still bad.
Yeah,
so those wouldn't matter.
Yeah, that's one
those wouldn't matter. Those would be fine.
That's one good example, Drip, of how an update. If there's an update and that you need to download, that's how you can in today's current gaming climate, how you can get kind of scammed out of your copy of your game later on down the road. Another example is on the Switch, right? Some of these cartridges that they use for the physical versions, they use small SD cards to save on costs, which means that when you get the game, you plug it in and only half of the game's on there and the other half needs to be installed, which means that cartridge is literally useless without that save data on the Switch. And if you break that Switch later on in life, but the cartridge works, that game is trash. So that's
like if you buy, and I know you and I have both bought it. At the end of the year, like the NBA 2K games go on sale.
Yep.
And if I can get, I'm not into that stuff at all, really.
Right.
But for $5,
yes,
I'll mess around with some basketball. Yeah, that's fine. But if you go buy that thing physically, I mean, how big is that? How big is that game? That game's like 60 gigs on the Switch.
On the Switch, yeah, it's
which for a Switch game, that is like, that's craziness. Yes. That is a huge game. And do you even get any of it on the cartridge? I'd say they probably get the smallest cartridge, and then because you got to download the game anyway.
I believe they get whatever the smallest that's available to them is what they get, because they know it doesn't matter how big we get it unless we get 120
the 64 gig
or
ones,
100 or even 128, depending if the game's over 60. I don't really remember at this point.
I don't think there's a game on a Nintendo Switch cartridge that is on 120. I think 64 is the biggest one. There's only like 2 games that even use it.
Right. So
because they're expensive.
Well, in the grand scheme of things, in reality, I can go get a 60 gig cart for like, $8.
Yeah. Okay.
But the mass scale, yes, for these companies, the mass scale, it is much more expensive for them, which is understandable.
Well, that's another reason they're pushing for this digital stuff anyway. Like, think about how much money they're saving on album artwork, the boxes, the cartridges, the printing, the shipping, the stocking, like all that stuff. All that goes away if it's all digital.
Yeah,
they pay an artist to make the little thumbnail for for whatever it is. That's it. It's done.
Well, they pay them anyway. Oh, right. You're saying, for digital.
I'm just saying, they don't have to buy boxes. They don't have to print out artwork. They don't have to do any of that stuff. They don't have to ship anything anywhere.
Shipping I think is actually the biggest cost, because if we're looking at the plastic that it costs for the cartridge, the plastic for the case, the paper in there, the man hours that they got to pay to assemble it, but the biggest of all, the shipping is probably the most expensive thing for them. I think all that plastic and stuff, it's actually probably minuscule. I'm gonna just throw a number out there. I could be completely wrong.
You probably are. You sure you want to do that?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, I am, because I think it's probably pretty close. I'm thinking.
Okay, I want to hear what this number is.
I'm thinking about $5 is what it costs for all that plastic and paper for the physical, for the physical copy. I think it probably is less than that, to be honest with you. At the mass scale that they're able to produce this stuff, and how they get, anybody who has a business
honestly,
knows
it's probably cheaper
who buys in bulk
honestly.
like that. It's probably cheaper than
probably
$5.
Cheaper.
Well, I'm saying $5 to be just cover my ass a little bit. It's probably.
I think you're way over on that. Honestly, I would say it's probably less. I would say as far as
3 or 2 is what the real number of my head say, but I don't want to say that because that'll be like ridiculously.
That sounds honestly. You got to think about the bulk, the mass of what they're buying at one time to do this too. I mean, they're going to be super cheap, but you're buying,
It's but the real cost. Forget about that. The real cost is shipping, and I think it probably costs them roughly $5 to $10 per game to have a physical game made and shipped to a customer. anywhere between $5 and $10. So that if it's a $60 game, obviously you take off 10 off that, you're not making $50 in that game, rather than if you sell digitally, it's much closer to 60. There's still a couple costs here and there, but it's not anything like the physical stuff. So it is and if you times that $10 loss at worst case, right, $10, you times that by every game that gets sold, millions of copies for certain games. That's a ton of money, which I understand why they would want to not sell as many physical games. But it's not even about anymore. This conversation that we're having tonight, it's not even about whether physical or digital is better. It's about stopping what is inevitable, Drip. And I think what is inevitable is not just the destruction of physical games, but the addition of subscription services to the gaming industry. And that's actually, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. I don't want to talk about that quite yet because Ubisoft had some interesting comments that we will get to. But let's look at some of the actual evidence that we have right now in 2024, where we sit as of this recording, that shows that physical stuff is not just on its way out. In certain cases, it's already gone. And we can look at Best Buy in the United States here. Best Buy is already stopped selling physical media. Now, that doesn't mean video games, but that is just the beginning.
Yeah.
So,
well, okay. Before we jump there, I've got some. I think that's what I was looking up right here. What is this? Get away! Get away! I had it. Now it's covered up. Okay.
Why'd you ruin my perfect segue?
Because this is interesting, and we're good. It's the same thing. Now it's not giving it to me. Well, that was cool. Never mind. Anyway. I found it on a website here. It looked really cool, but then it told me I had to log in or sign up, and I'm not going to do that. But anyway, it shows year over year, physical versus digital, and this is only up to 2018, but it's up to like 80% of total games are digital. And you got to remember this too. You're talking about PC. PC's all digital.
Yeah, PC's been digital for probably 2 decades.
But it's over 80%, and that's in 2018. And you can just see the steady decline of physical, just year over year, down. And like you were saying, Best Buy is probably the place you can look for that's the most interesting right now. Taking DVDs, Blu-rays just completely out of the store. They're done. Yeah. They're not even going to sell them.
They're off the shelves and they're in the bins as of right now. There's like bins in the center of the store, according to our resident Best Buy employee hero.
Yeah, and I can also say that is definitely true. I was there when I picked up my my PlayStation Portal, and I walked by on the way to the checkout. There's bins the whole way, little shelves, so like $10 Blu-rays. They're just trying to get rid of them. Yeah, they moved washing machines and refrigerators and stuff into that section.
Yeah, and that affects the rest of the market as well, because I know it was 2023 still, and Amazon was matching Best Buy prices on certain DVDs and Blu-rays. I picked up the Mario movie, the newest Mario movie, for $10 on 4K Blu-ray.
Yeah, physical, right? Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Movies are going that way. I mean, not all the way yet. Yeah, but Disney even said they're not releasing their movies on Blu-ray anymore. They're done.
Yeah, I don't love that. Year. I really don't love that, and it's for the same reason why I don't love it for gaming either. I do like to collect that stuff. I mean, think about like the joy you get when you stumble upon your VHS collection of Disney movies or whatever you collected.
Yeah. Oh man, I have like one of those big binders of DVDs upstairs. That, like you look at some of that stuff, like some old metal music tours, like live DVD stuff. I mean, yeah, dude, that's some serious nostalgia there. But yeah, like old movies. I've got episodes, like full seasons of The Office on DVD. Yeah. Like that's a lot of discs too. Yeah. If you remember, like when you used to get those seasons of shows, it was like books that opened up with like 5-6 discs. Mm-hmm. But now it's like, I watch The Office almost every night. Almost every night. If there's nothing else on, I'm watching The Office sitting on the couch. You know where I watch it?
Where?
Peacock.
And you pay for that.
Or YouTube TV. Yeah, or YouTube TV where I've just recorded it and they just play. I have every episode of every season. They just play in a loop. I never get the DVDs out because they're available.
The importance level varies from person to person, right? So, like for you, for example, you have a few streaming services, and you're fine with that. You probably prefer it that way, so you don't got to worry about keeping your DVDs in order.
I don't have.
And if you're
a
upstairs,
DVD
oh
player.
shit, I left my office copy downstairs. Got to go run and get that before bed. Nope, not gonna do that.
Not even possible.
Some people.
I don't have a way to play a disc in this house.
Yeah,
I don't even have one.
I think the hybrid method of physical, and we're talking this at this point. We're not talking about games right now. We're talking about cinema media, TV media. The hybrid method is a good way to go, because you're not, from a different perspective, you're not always going to be able to afford some of these services.
Yeah,
because there's so many of them. There's so many of them at this point in TV.
We talked about that earlier.
Movies.
There's a ton.
There's so many services, and you're not always going to be on one or the other. And let's say, like for example, Mrs. Geeb and I was like, man, I used to watch the show Monk all the time when I was younger. That show came out.
I think my mom watched that a lot.
Love the show. Her and I are on season 3 right now. We're binging through it. It's great. Love Monk. Looked up where to find it. Preferably, I like to see it on the TV service, like YouTube TV.
Yeah.
Didn't really see it. I did see some episodes there, but there's issues with that, with the DVR feature, like and the on-demand feature. Like it was real grainy, and I don't know. I don't love that all the time for certain shows, especially those older shows like that where they filmed it on film and it's grainy and not HD. Anyway, so the best place we found to watch it was Prime, Amazon Prime, which we do have here, obviously. But it'd be really nice if I could just, like, we're sitting down here and downstairs. We watched most of our television. We I don't really watch television anywhere at other place besides down here. I got a DVD shelf right over in the corner. You guys can't see it on my screen, but it's in the corner of the room. I got a DVD shelf, and I don't have a ton.
Do you have a DVD player down there?
I have a Blu-ray player, and because
I've
talked about this on the show before. Like in 2018, I was getting into like Blu-rays. I got my first 4K TV, and I wanted to watch some 4K Blu-rays. Because that is the best looking format. I think 4K depends on the internet, and sometimes there's lag or buffering or bit rate, which
that's true.
Blu-rays don't have that problem. And also, I like to collect. I'm that person that likes to collect. So I think it's cool that I see all the Skywalker trilogy on my shelf. I have all of them. I think I'm missing the last 2, the newest 2. But other than that, I have the rest of them on Blu-ray, and I like that. It's cool. Or like I've all the Rocky movies. I picked those up for
my brother. My brother was huge into like DVDs. He had a gigantic collection. I don't know if he still has them or not, but yeah, I mean, all the same things you're saying. And he was one of the people who he would go through the bins at Walmart, the $5 bins, just to find stuff he didn't have, even if he didn't like really want to watch it. He just wanted to like fill out the collection, which is, I don't know. I've never really been like that. There was a time, I think probably right when I started my YouTube channel. I think for a minute there, I was like, yeah, physical game collection. I want to do that. And then about halfway through that, I was like, I don't want all this stuff on my shelf. I don't like it. I want room for other fun things on my shelf. I don't want just cases. I want Legos. I want whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't want this here. And I always have this problem too, and I've said this in videos. I think the first video I talked about me going all digital, I said this, and I got absolutely just pummeled in the comments for it because I said, sometimes if I'm playing on the TV with my Switch, and it's like, oh, I want to switch games, and it's like, God, do I really want to get up, go over there, switch out the cartridge, put it back in, put the other one away. Do I really want to do all that? And usually I'm just like, nah, I don't actually. I just think the convenience of digital for me is what I love about it, especially getting the 1 terabyte card, the SD card. Yeah. I still have, I mean, you know how many games I have on my Switch. I still have like, I think 256 gigabytes on that card and all the internals, the 64 gigs of internal storage. So I'm still good. Like it's going to last me the rest of the life of the Switch.
That'll be the SD card you have for the rest in that Switch for the rest of its life.
Yeah, and then when I get a Switch 2, I'll get one for that. Mm-hmm. I mean, I feel like at that point I may just get a 2 terabyte. Do they even make one of those yet?
Yeah, they're expensive.
How much
as hell.
is it?
Like $180, $200 depending, maybe even more.
That's actually not that bad.
No, for 2 terabytes.
For my 1 terabyte at the time, what did I pay for it? 120?
Yeah, but they've gone down now. You can get them for 60, 70, 80.
For a terabyte?
For a terabyte.
Son son of a biscuit eater.
Yeah, dude, storage is the worst investment because right now,
damn, that's
right
cheap,
now,
dude.
the market for it's dropping in a good way for the consumer because
that's
it's
crazy.
getting cheap. It's not that they're losing money.
No, that's wonderful. I didn't realize it had gotten that cheap though.
Yeah, I think you could find it easily for $80. Sometimes if you're lucky, or if it's a little bit of sale on Amazon or something, like $60. Yeah,
around Christmas. Yeah, that's the time to do it.
I saw them. I couldn't afford it at the time. I was buying some other stuff at the time, but I was like, man, I mean, that's $60 for 1 terabyte. That is absolutely a steal.
That's a great deal. Yeah, like I said, I got mine on sale for $120.
Let's not get off track though. I want to bring it back on the track here because I have lots of thoughts.
Keep me on the rails. You're
so
good.
Drip, oh man, I think I already lost it. You were saying about physical games and digital games. So my stance right now, you guys know how I feel about. I like to collect and stuff, but I'll be honest with you, I have not bought a physical game. I can't remember the last time I bought a physical Switch game. I've been selling them off recently. Like I've actually started selling off my. I sold Metroid Dread to Hero. I sold Sonic Frontiers to Aiden, and I sold a couple other games on eBay. And count. I think what I have right now, I think is the core that I want to keep: the Pokemons, the Zeldas, the Mario. Yeah. But like the rest of it, there's a couple of other like Animal Crossing. There's a couple. You can see I got a few. I'm gonna keep these.
Hell of a lot more than I have.
I'm gonna keep those. But as far as getting any more physical games, with the exception of like the Zeldas, where the Zeldas I won't budge. I will get a physical Zelda. Other than that, I'm gonna go digital for the rest of the way. I'm gonna, in fact, for Zelda, I'm gonna buy twice.
He's jumping ship, ladies and gentlemen. He's jumping ship.
No.
He's on the way over.
I have more.
Come on over, Geeb.
I have more to
add. It's fine.
I have more to. Shut up. I have more to add. So the Tears of the Kingdom, for example, I bought it twice. I got it digital for convenience, but I got the collector's edition because I wanted the collector's edition. But it came with the game. So I'll do that with Zelda's going forward. And then the rest of the stuff, maybe the Mario. Like I wanted Mario Wonder. I wanted it on the cartridge real bad. But I'm like, it's just a better deal to get it digitally. Plus, you have it conveniently whenever you want. You don't worry about going anywhere.
Did you use a voucher for that one?
Yeah, we used a voucher.
Yeah. So you got Tears of the Kingdom and Mario Wonder with the voucher.
That was the wrong. You're thinking about the wrong time frame.
That was a long time. Okay, what'd you get? You did the same thing.
Mrs. G wanted Hyrule Warriors, the original Hyrule Warriors.
That's right.
So she got that, and then I got Mario Wonder.
Yeah. Then that works. And what did I get? I did the same thing. Oh, I ended up rebuying a Zelda game that I sold because Mario Wonder I wanted. But obviously at this point, if you're an online member, doing the vouchers is the way to go. So I got the vouchers and got Mario Wonder, and then I rebought Link's Awakening because my kids saw it and they were like, "Where's that game?" And I was like, "I sold it. I don't have it."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, they want to play it." And I was like, "Okay, well, it's fine. We can use the other voucher for that," which is nice because I want to play it again. It's a good one. It's one of my favorite ones on the. It's one of my favorite games on the Switch. Love it.
I would love if the conversation about this went from my option is better than your option, meaning physical versus digital, to why can't we just have it both? And I have an answer to that question, Drip. But before we get to that answer to that question, I want to let you guys know that we have memberships on the channel. If you have not become a member yet of this channel, please do so. You get extra content every single month. In a couple weeks, we're going to it's next week, is it? Or 2 weeks, whatever. In next week, we're going to be
got two coming up. It's
next week. Next week, we are going to be live on this channel, but only for members. So if you want to see that live stream podcast episode, make sure to become one. It's $5 a month. It supports the stream and it helps us out. So we appreciate that. And again, and there's actually going to be a second piece of content at some point because we owe you guys, you members, we owe you something extra because December Drip and I got very ill.
We did. We were very
so
sick.
we couldn't do it. We could not find a week
but
there.
we decided we are going to do like a big game thing, right? We're going to do a little game night. Just do all the games we play on the podcast.
Do a little game night. It'll be fun. And that'll just be for members. So thank you guys for hopping on that train. Also, we got merch, as we mentioned in the pre-show, but we'll mention it for the actual episode. We got some merch going on, so if you want to check that out, limited edition stuff happening right now at dripandgeeb.shop. Make sure to go over there, check it out. Check if you don't want to buy anything, that's cool. We appreciate your view anyway. But if you want to laugh, go to the dripandgeeb.shop. There's some good chat GPT descriptions of the podcast. And I think I should go in there and refresh some to keep it fresh, give people reason to
chat
go back to the
GPT
store.
absolutely just dominated that. Just bodied that entire thing.
Yeah.
Let me get this real good for you guys. Don't you worry.
Yeah,
Make you sound amazing.
Go check out the website there. And if you don't support us monetarily, we still love you anyway. Don't worry. We still love you. We appreciate your subscribe. Appreciate your view. And we appreciate you as a person, more importantly. So thank you for hopping in here. Drip, why do we have to choose between physical or digital? Why are we being threatened by a subscription service model? The answers to these questions are all the same.
Money.
Corporate greed.
I mean, you call it a different thing than I call it. You call it corporate greed.
I do call it corporate greed.
I say, why the fuck are you even in business if you're not trying to make money? That's what I say.
No. Making money.
I understand what they're saying.
Hold on. Making money does not equal corporate greed. They're two different things.
Okay. I don't see this as corporate greed per se.
Oh,
I see
you
this
don't.
as just the future.
It's
just the future.
You don't see this.
Not totally.
You don't see this corporate greed, Drip.
I can see why you would say that, and I can see why you understand it.
Perfect segue to.
It's fine. Yeah, I do want to talk about this.
To Ubisoft and their comments yesterday. If you don't think it's corporate greed and you can't read in between the lines here, listen, it's corporate greed. Here we go. Let's read this quote here at the start of it here. Again, Ubisoft. Who was this from Ubisoft, Drip?
I don't know.
Some guy.
Some executive, Ubisoft. I don't know.
Yeah. So here's the quote from this exec from Ubisoft. I don't have a crystal ball, but when you look at the different subscription services that are out there, we had a rapid extension over the last couple of years, but it's relatively small compared to the other models. Tremblay said. He continues, "We're seeing expansion on consoles as the likes of PlayStation and Xbox bring new people in. On PC, from a Ubisoft standpoint, it's already been great, but we're looking to reach out more on PC, so we see an opportunity there." He continues, one of the things that we saw in the gamers that are used to a little bit like DVDs having their own games. That's the consumer shift that needs to happen. They got to get comfortable with not owning their CD collection or DVD collection. That's a transformation that's been a bit slower to happen in games.
I don't agree with that, but
there's a bit more. I didn't want to finish it out because I don't know if anything else is prevalent, but I think there's only a little bit left here. As gamers grow comfortable in that aspect, you don't lose progress. If you resume games at another time, your progress file is still there. That's not been deleted. You don't lose what you built in the game, your engagement with the games. It's about feeling comfortable with not owning your game. It's a big one.
Yeah. Okay.
We can finish off there.
Let me just for a second. I want to go with some of this here. The whole thing about this is we need to start feeling comfortable about not owning our games. Here's the big problem with that. Here's the main problem with that, and we have talked about this on this show before. We don't feel comfortable with not owning our games because there has been nothing from the gaming industry to show us that preservation is something that is being taken seriously and actually put into motion. Like, I think I said, what was I talking about last time we talked about this? Like, whatever. The great hall of video games where all these servers exist, and this is where the preservation happens. There needs to be something happen to give us at least that peace of mind to know that, like, whatever, here's this thing. This game is never going away because it may not be on this server, but it will be moved to this legacy server out here, this big thing. Give us something like that so we're not so, like, that's why people are afraid. I don't really care all that much, but that's why people are afraid. Yeah. That's exactly why, because there's no certainty.
I'm going to read the quote again, that one quote. So it's about feeling comfortable with not owning your game.
Yeah.
Translation, what he really means, because this is a public quote from a corporate person in Ubisoft. We want the consumer to feel comfortable with us in control.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
That's the quote. We want the consumer to feel comfortable about us being in control. And like you just said, Drip, what evidence do we have to suggest that we should trust them.
You're right.
With
Give us the
our
reason.
money. And
give us.
when I give somebody money, I expect something back. And I expect it, what I receive, to be mine. Unless explicitly otherwise.
Well, and there's some things that, some things are outside control, which I get. And that needs to be addressed too. Licensing stuff. That's like a whole thing. That's a whole nother can of worms that I don't really want to get into too far.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do understand some stuff with that. But I mean, you've got to find a way to figure this out.
Life is a game of control. Yourself, your relationship with your partner or others, your family, friends. It should not be a battle of, should I let this big corporation conglomerate have control over me? Or should I be in control? The answer is never. The big corporate conglomerate. Never. It will never be. It hasn't been. And in the future will never be the answer. You never want a corporation be in control of you.
I mean, but that's what we do with all our other media at this point. That's where we're at. Let's go back to this. We haven't even gotten into this at all.
Hold on. No, it's not.
Go ahead.
I want to say I disagree. Because my philosophy on movies and TV that you have a subscription for is I'm renting this stuff. But that's the thing we used to do. Remember, we used to go to Blockbuster. We used to pay way too much money to bring it home, watch it for a day, and bring it back. That was lucrative. That is renting. And today I look at Netflix like long-term renting. That's
okay, but it's still the same thing as these subscription services they're talking about. Stuff comes in out of Netflix all the time because of licensing and how long they have it. I mean, it's the same with Game Pass. Same with anything else.
100%. The difference though is why can't we have both? Don't forget that. The money. That header,
it's the overhead.
That header,
it's the overhead.
I should have that on the screen right now. Why can't we have both? We can't have both because of corporate greed. They won't give us the physical stuff because they're too cheap to produce it. They still make profit off it. Ladies and gentlemen, do not forget that they're still making money. It's not like they're not making money on these physical products. No. They just make more money if they're in control.
Oh yeah, if there's not as much overhead. Yeah.
So it's not about like, oh, the excuse, we can't afford it. No. They're making money. It may not be a lot, but they're still making a profit off of each sale of a physical device, but they're taking that away from us because they know they have the control, and they know there's idiots out there who are going to blindly follow them into the subscription model for gaming.
And then everybody else who has 14 subscriptions they don't even know about that just sit there. That's so funny because when we were playing Mario Party last night, we were talking about this. Mm-hmm. Just the people who have multiple Netflix subscriptions lost the password or whatever and just went and just started another one. They got two they're just paying for it. And I was like, that's insane. But I want to go back a little bit.
Sure. And
just kind of talk about just these subscription models and how they've started. Like, let's think about Spotify. Yep. The music industry did this stuff first.
Oh man, I hopped on that. Oh yeah, I kind of, we've talked about that before, but I forgot about this episode.
They did it first. I mean, and then CDs, FYE gone. They stopped selling music.
Let's go back for a second. Before Spotify, what was happening before Spotify? Like Apple.
LimeWire.
Well, I was getting there.
Baby, let's go.
I was getting there, but I was more talking about iTunes. Right? We're old. You and I are old enough. You and I are old enough to know what iTunes is. We're also old enough to know what LimeWire and what were some of the other ones? What were some of the other ones?
I don't know. LimeWire was the only one I remember.
So, but like basically,
throw them in the chat if you guys know them. I'll shout them out.
But the point to that is that in that industry at that time, they were. How do I put this? People were taking that stuff like I was, but I was just a kid. I wasn't like an adult. Maybe Drip, you were. You should be too proud of yourself.
Yeah,
I was
Napster,
just a kid.
The OG, yeah,
Napster. I didn't quite understand at the time what I was doing. That's technically stealing.
You're stealing music.
Well, we didn't really know that.
It was the Wild West. We
were just kids, right?
But it was the Wild West.
But nowadays, I look at that and go, yeah, you're stealing. That's not great to do. But I understand it because their only other option was to pay $1. And a lot of kids didn't have $1 to pay for a song, let alone $13-15 it was for an album.
Let's stop for a second. Let's stop and go, hey, Mom, I need $1 to buy a song. My mom would have been like, what? What are you talking? No. What are you talking about? Are you? No. Get out of here.
What you basically had to do, because you were a little bit older at that point. I was in the prime age of like, hey mom, can you buy me a song? For me, it was more when I got a gift card from somebody, because that was a thing. iTunes gift cards were things all the time.
Oh yeah.
You make sure not to don't blow it right away, because you're gonna save that, because when your favorite artist comes out with a new album, that's when you use it. You know, or a movie that you want to watch comes out, you use it on that.
Get it on the movie. I still do my digital movies that I buy through Apple, because I have a library of stuff that's already there.
Right.
It's like I'd like to keep it all in that one place. We bought the new Trolls movie last night, which is great. Any of you guys who haven't seen it, probably the best of the three.
But I brought up the LimeWire and Apple iTunes because, like, look at what's happening nowadays. People are not that people didn't steal games back in the day, but excuse me. It's like the emulation thing and like stealing games, quote unquote. That's definitely a conversation that's happening right now, big time. A lot to do with this whole issue. And to be honest with you, while I don't agree and I don't support stealing games, I'm not gonna lie. I've downloaded a couple of ROMs that I don't own recently. I'm on Steam Deck. I'm getting into ROM stuff, and I've done it. You know, I don't call it. I want to be a hypocrite. But I'm doing it, and I don't feel that bad about it.
What's the matter?
Because these games are owned by these big companies who are just going to take advantage, are currently taking advantage of us left and right. Right. And listen, hey, there's people out there who like, yeah, you're so wrong for doing that. Also, hey, listen about this. Have you ever ordered something off Amazon and then returned it because you didn't like the way it smelled when it came and you wanted a different one? Or if you ordered something and it's like, actually, I don't want this anymore, and you returned it. You're not directly thieving Amazon, but you're stealing money out of their pocket. And you know, you could say I'm using the service, but really, are you really? Or are you just taking advantage of it? Which is the same thing as getting a ROM. You're just taking advantage of the situation.
Oh yeah, and I mean, let's go here too, because this is kind of a different thing. How many times do you think I've paid for? I'm just trying to think of an older game that I probably bought. How many times do you think I've paid for Link to the Past?
Probably
came out originally on
at least a handful of times.
5, 6 times maybe. And now I pay for it yearly because it's in the Nintendo Online service. Mm-hmm. Like I've bought that game 1,000 times. I've given them money for the same game at least 5 times.
Multiple times, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you are being taken advantage of when it comes to that type of stuff, re-releasing stuff like that. You do get rid of that part of the having to rebuy things when you go to the subscription model. So that is an advantage. Like Nintendo Switch Online, like we don't have to rebuy those old games anymore. It just is included in our online service that they're going to make us pay for anyway. So that's not bad.
It's a smart way for Nintendo to make up some of these costs that they're losing because people are taking their ROMs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't see that as a bad thing at all, especially since they were going to start charging for this anyway, the online.
Yeah.
I mean, we were going to be paying for it one way or the other. The fact that they're padding it with all this other stuff, it hurts a lot less. And I've made videos on how I feel about the online service. I think you and I both agree at this point, it's well worth the cost.
I think Nintendo's online is the most as close as you can get to pro consumer as any of the other three competitors.
I would agree with that.
And people are going to be like, you're insane, unsubscribe, dislike, you're crazy. Because you're riding this train right now, because a lot of people do ride this train of because Nintendo's online does suck and their infrastructure does suck and games do run bad. And you're also like, but it's like $50 a year, man. I can't afford that. Well, maybe you can't. Maybe you can't. I technically can't at the moment. My brother pays for it, and we make it up other ways.
What, $120 a year?
$120 a year. You know, that person also probably has Netflix, which is $130 a year. They probably at least thought about Disney. $140 a year now. Probably has YouTube TV or something equivalent. $500, $800, $1,000 a year, depending on the service. They don't quite understand. Anybody who hates on Nintendo Switch Online, and even now, especially now is what I mean.
Especially now. Now it's really hard for anybody to have an argument against it. $20 a year. They filled it out so nicely.
It was free, and now it costs money, equal bad. That's how some people's brains work, and they can't really comprehend anything else.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for you. I go to school again? I don't know. Take a college course, go to community college just to learn something? I don't know. Educate yourself. Think for yourself, maybe. I don't know. Whatever.
I don't know.
Whatever needs to happen with you, go get the help that you need.
But
that's all.
Back to the Ubisoft thing. I just think I honestly just think, as maybe as poorly worded as this was, he's not wrong. He's not wrong because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
This is happening.
Yeah, because people are currently and will continue to get subscription
services. It is an
services.
abrasive statement to make. It is an abrasive statement to make, and I'm sure it pissed a whole lot of people off.
Yeah,
but he's not wrong.
And I want to be clear here. I'm not against any of the TV subscriptions. I'm not against any of the future gaming subscriptions. I'm not against them.
See, I kind of am, actually.
I'll let you.
The gaming ones.
I'll let you elaborate on that. But bring it on. Like, you keep telling me I don't like change, and I keep telling you that you're wrong. Here's another example why you're wrong. I'm not against this change of the industry. What I'm against is then taking away. You can change the industry, but why do we need to take away physical media? They're still going to make
taking away the ability to buy it. Yeah,
taking away the ability to buy it in favor of a method where you have 100% control, meaning the conglomerate, and the person has no control over it, and of the future of it, the present of it. Fine. If you want to have a subscription service at Ubisoft, that's totally cool, but don't stop selling physical media. Don't do it. And Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation, keep releasing consoles with a game cartridge or a disc slot, and keep putting out physical games because it's an option, and the consumer deserves an option. They don't deserve you to take it away from them just because you want to make more money than you're ever going to be able to spend in your life. That's not fair. Geeb, the president of the Fuck You Society for video game people all around the world, says, fuck you, big corporate conglomerates. Go fuck yourself. I want to be able to buy physical games whenever I want, and I don't want you to take control just because you want to make more money. It's my money, and I want it now.
Oh, man. I've been wanting to use that for so long. I'm so glad that happened. No, I mean, I see where you're at with the options. I don't think you're wrong. I just think it's so, and we talked about this earlier. I mentioned this earlier when we were on the phone. It's so easy for the gaming industry to do it now because we've watched this model happen in every other form of media.
Yeah.
And I think this guy's wrong. I said something where I said I disagree with the part of what he's saying in here, where it's like, oh, that we haven't accepted it fast enough. Like this has been a pretty sped up process.
I would think it's been 10. The transition probably began somewhere in the late 2000s, more likely like 2008. And not music, but like TV is the big one. Music happened really fast, I think.
Yeah, music happened very fast.
Within 10 years,
files are smaller.
Within 10 years, but less than that. With TV, it's been, I would say, actually probably about the same amount of time. Probably about 5 to 10 years.
You got to think about this too. The difference in the two, like I said, are file sizes. What you're streaming music from, or streaming, like a video is a much bigger thing to be streaming. It's not as easy. You know what I mean?
That's actually subjective, or not subjective. That is.
It depends on your internet, but at the time, nobody had internet like that.
Right. So at the time, looking at music, file sizes were smaller, but internet was way slower and more expensive. Moving to the 2010s ish, when like streaming movies and stuff, Netflix came around, the internet was better and cheaper and it was good enough for that. And now for gaming, we're ready. We've been there.
Getting there. Yeah,
we've been there for
close.
a few years. At least home networks. It's affordable. It's not cheap, but you can afford it.
xCloud works.
You can, like works. $15 a month. You can afford. That's less than Netflix. And you probably got Netflix person or something equivalent. So you can afford this random person. I'm blanketing. My point is that we're here. We're ready for it. It's only going to get better as time goes on. Anyway.
Well, okay. This is what I don't like, and this is kind of where I was going to go with when I said I kind of disagree with the gaming part of it, because I don't like the fact. Like, I'm cool with like cutting the cord, whatever, YouTube TV. I like it much better.
Oh, yeah.
Disney Plus, that's kind of a different animal there. I'm okay with that. That's a different thing to me.
Yeah.
But all the single networks that have their thing. You got like Paramount Plus, you got Peacock. Like the fact that all these are doing that, and that's what Ubisoft's trying to do too. You've got your EA Play stuff, the Ubisoft, whatever their thing's called. Every single studio has their own, and that's where I'm like, I can't.
Well, you know why?
Do all that.
You know why these studios and like Ubisoft and stuff. You know why they're doing this, right?
Tell me.
Not their own, well, kind of their own, but half their own corporate greed and half the other company's corporate greed. Disney, or not Disney. Let's just say Game Pass, because that's the big one we have right now.
Okay.
Ubisoft's like, well, Xbox is making a lot of money.
Oh yeah, but they're paying them for the games to be on there. They're making money off that.
Well, of course they are, Drip. Like I said, greed is not profit.
They're going to make more money if they don't have to go
through
Game Pass. They can pull their shit off Game Pass and have it. That's what I'm talking about, though. That's what makes this. That's what makes the whole thing about this shitty. Because then you start seeing people subscribe to Ubisoft's subscription. And then Ubisoft's like, oh shit, we got people. And then they start, once those contracts are up, they start pulling their stuff off Game Pass, off of PlayStation's, whatever it's called, PlayStation Plus. They start pulling all their stuff back. And then it really does become, if you want Ubisoft games, you go to Ubisoft. If you want this, you go there. And that's way worse than having console exclusives. That's a whole nother animal right there.
Just wait, Drip. Just wait to the day where in gaming, where it comes, like we're having right now with TV, where shows and movies, content in general, is being fought between different services. Just imagine the day where like you subscribe to Nintendo's online. Now, this will probably never happen, but just an example. Somebody out there is going to feel very passionate about something that you are about Zelda. And imagine this scenario where you subscribe to Nintendo's streaming service for gaming, and just to play Zeldas. You're like, I don't want this gaming shit anymore.
That's how I used to be when I was younger. I didn't play any other games.
Like you bought a console to play Zelda. In this case, it'd be to buy streaming service to play Zelda. But then Zelda's gone a month after you get there. And guess where it goes? Nowhere for a little while until it goes to the highest bidder, which happens to be BX Games, making something up.
Yeah,
BX,
I understand
BX streaming, and then it's like, oh shit! Now I got to cancel Nintendo and go over to BX Gaming a few months later to play Zelda. I just want to play fucking Zelda.
I like that you call it BX Gaming.
I don't know.
Just come up with that.
I was gonna say something. I was gonna say X Gaming, but I'm like, wait a minute, that could be dirty or terrible.
Wait, hold on. Wait, what does your mom call every gaming system?
Gamebox X.
The Gamebox X.
Gamebox X Live over here. I gotta go. That's where Zelda lives, and I gotta go pay for that now. But I don't want to. I just want to play the damn game. And for TV, that's where I'm at right now. I just want to watch the damn content. I don't want to have to flip flop back and forth. I don't mind it all that much. Yeah. It doesn't bother me too much if I don't have to do too much flip flopping. But like when I gotta use my voice to search on my TV, and it tells me, oh, there's 17 ways to watch this show. 16 of them cost money. One has intrusive ads. I'm like, can't Netflix just have Monk, please? Like, why do I gotta go to Amazon? Why do I need Amazon to watch Monk? Or I don't
know. The whole thing's.
Yeah, Full Metal in the chat, very relevant right now because the NFL playoffs are happening.
Oh man, I see that.
Gotta go sign up for Peacock to watch NFL playoff game. Like I get it. Like I get it. I get it.
That was dirty.
I get why Peacock wants it, and I get why the NFL wants it, but it's anti-consumer.
No. The one game they did. Come on. You know why they did that.
Because that was the Super Bowl of the AFC.
For the Swifties. No.
Dude, I didn't think about that.
So many other people trying to watch that game.
Oh, I did not think about that.
And they put it's because the Swifties. And every Swiftie wanted to see if Taylor Swift was going to be shown 6 times, went and paid for Peacock $6 or whatever it was to watch that game.
I didn't think about that.
Because guess what? Yeah. I watched that game, and guess who was sitting right beside me?
Your daughter.
Waiting to see if Taylor Swift was going to be on the TV. Yeah. My 13-year-old daughter was glued to the TV.
Man, oh man.
Yeah. Oh, that. No. And it's the only game they did it for, too. Come on.
Yeah.
Now that, you want to talk about greed. That is taking advantage of some, that is, oh, yeah.
Imagine who's most pissed off. Like, who got $0 from that? Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I mean, she should be. I don't know. She's doing all right.
I'm not. Listen, I'm not. And again, because I'm also not anti I'm kind of anti-capitalism, but I'm not like totally anti-capitalism like you think I am. Like, I get it. Go make your money, people. Like, go get your bag. Like Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
I know you're mega rich and your great grandfather's gonna be or granddaughter's gonna be fine, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not against you going to get even more money if you deserve it, if you worked for it, if you earned it. You know, I'm not against it. Comrade Geeb.
Okay. Whatever. That's true. Other than the streaming service, we've got one other thing to talk about this digital future, and I think this is a bomb, like an actual bomb hitting the gaming industry because Game, not GameStop.
Yeah.
Game in the UK on February 16th, they will no longer be accepting your used games to trade in for anything. Right. They don't want them.
Not accepting
which that's okay.
Best Buy is one thing, so that's just media, not games. But now we're talking about games, right?
Okay, but listen, this is why this is very concerning, especially for GameStop. Honestly, I know this for a fact. GameStop makes their money from that.
Well,
no, they do. They make their money from used games they buy for dirt cheap and then resell again for a crazy amount more than they paid for them back. They don't make that much on new games. They make a ton on used games. And if you ever notice, right before the holidays, they will give you crazy, crazy money, what you think is crazy money, still not what you should be getting for it.
We're going to give you four
games,
rations instead of one
not
ration.
Not only for games, but for consoles. They'll do it for consoles, too. And it's a lot more than they usually give because they want to be stocked up on used stuff for the holidays.
Yes.
Because people come in, they're like, oh, I can get a new Switch for
I can save
$300, or I can get this used one that's in good condition for
and then Mario Odyssey
$250.
Mario Odyssey is $51, not $60. Ooh, that's nice.
And they bought it back from somebody for what?
And Jimmy's not
they bought it back for somebody for $7. The margins are crazy. But what that says, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to point out this is that I'm not disagreeing with you. It's not that I think that you're wrong when you say that they make their money on that, but what they really make their money on right now. Go, have you walked into GameStop within the past month? Oh, yeah. 2 months, maybe a year, even 2 years?
There's not a lot of games left.
You know what's in there? Merchandise.
Yeah, lots of it. Oh, yeah.
Pop figures, Pokemon cards, T-shirts, hats.
And I like that. Honestly, I'm good with that. I'm okay with that. I like that stuff. I'm a knick-knack guy, man.
Yeah, Spawn Wave just kind of reverberated what was already in my mind in his show on the other day. You know, you walk into GameStop, and that's what the stuff you see. And,
yeah, you do.
And when we were kids, what did you see when you walked into GameStop?
Games
everywhere. Like
walls lined
everywhere.
That was it.
Walls
they had
lined.
Like a few little plushies.
Walls lined.
Remember EB Games too?
That's what I went to. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was rows and rows and rows of games. There was
used.
Yeah,
both.
But they had other stuff, but it was like a tiny section in the back.
It was like when you walk when you're in Walgreens and you're at the checkout and there's like chips and soda and gum and cigarettes and all the little stuff that you can see. That's how it was back then with that stuff, like the plushies and toys. You could get that stuff just like close to the checkout or like just kind of spread out in the store a little bit.
It's 90% of the store now.
Yeah, because there's no more money in the games, and even the used stuff.
They started selling
nobody's
PC
really
stuff
nobody's
too.
trading, dude. Nobody's trading in games because nobody has games anymore.
Yeah,
and the people who do
isn't even accepting them.
Besides, like the kids and the parents, nobody's trading in those games because you're any games that you have, you're selling them on eBay because you're making more money.
You said that the other day. Yeah, like taking them to GameStop is
Facebook Marketplace.
That's the spot because then you don't have to worry about fees. You don't have to worry about shipping.
It's easy.
You just meet it. You meet it to GoMart. Yeah. You know, make the exchange. It's a little shady, kind of weird.
GameStop is already out of is Ireland a country, Abby? Ireland's a country? Yeah. I'm confirming with you. Thank you. Ireland is a country, and the country of Ireland got rid of GameStops. They're gone. No more.
I mean, GameStops are. I mean, they had their little.
I'm sure it's happening other places too, but it's
happening here. I mean, they're
No.
trying to figure out what the hell they're going to do.
I mean, the doors are closed, Drip. It's no longer there. It's gone.
Well, it's on the way here.
I know they're still here at the moment. I'm saying they will be gone though. They will, because at some point,
at least in the way that we see them now, the video game, you can't have a store that's for video. You can do a gaming store, but you got to switch out what you're doing. They have done this. I said this a second ago. I don't know if you heard me, but they have started putting PC stuff in there. Like,
yes,
they sell keyboards, mouses, mics. They like streaming stuff.
Yeah,
that's a cool way.
And for bad deals, by the way. Don't ever do that.
Oh, yeah, you don't buy anything from there, no. But if they could get good prices and have some good stuff in there and start moving away from like actual games to, sell the consoles and have the games if they're available, but do stuff like that.
Yeah, to simplify what you're saying, adjust the model.
Yeah, and think about content creation at this point. It's fucking massive.
Yeah, everybody with a phone can do it.
Yeah, and if you can get like a section just for like they're trying to do, like I said, they have the mics. They don't have any lighting or anything in there yet, but why not do that? Why not have some setups there where people can like check out different lights? Like that would be really cool.
I haven't seen like photography grade level stuff or anything, but I've seen like the stuff you can buy on Amazon for $15, $20, $30. I've seen that.
Yeah,
stuff
the little
man,
I gotta do something with this. This thing's too big. It's falling over, dude. It fell on me the other day. Straight fell on me. Yeah,
it's a big boy. Yeah, it's like the size it's like the size of your body almost, like in head and body.
Yeah, I mean it's a 2 foot soft. It's not a soft box. It's more of like a.
It's a big boy.
It's like a circle.
I'll tell you what though, don't. I know you want to, but don't. That light is so much better than anything else you're gonna get.
Well, I feel like listen. I know what I'm doing here.
Well, you do.
I want to
you
get
can
something
make stuff
thin. I want this size, but I want it to be like that thin, so it just sits there and there's nothing behind it. I don't know. It doesn't matter. We're off topic. Point is, they could do stuff like that in these stores. They could change it to still be a gaming store. It's just you got to get into other parts of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Sell more third-party controllers. Get into some of that other stuff that's more like just a different area. It doesn't have to be about the games. I mean, look at my YouTube channel. I have a Nintendo YouTube channel. How many actual games do I talk about on that YouTube channel?
None.
0. Still works.
Yeah.
You can do it.
It's easy to
GameStop. You need to just come copy my model. It works.
It's easy to say all that stuff. And to be honest with you, I feel like if I was in charge of the company, I would have already started on this 5 years ago. They're too. Number one, they're too late. They're going to die. They are dying and they're going to die.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
number two, you can look at other companies that did the same thing or had the same thing happen to them, like other retail stores or specialty stores.
Circuit City.
Kmart. There's a million examples of like places that, not the exact same as Best Buy, but the same scenario where they're like, they need to change with the times and they didn't.
Yeah.
I think it's the best case scenario is that they get bought out by Amazon and Amazon has retail stores. That's like the best case scenario because there's only one big store right now besides Walmart.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's Amazon.
So if Amazon buys out GameStop and they have these small retail stores, what are they selling them? Is it still a gaming store?
It's a physical,
Amazon Gaming?
It's a physical place to return your stuff because they do that with their Kohl's right now, but I'm sure that they pay Kohl's way too much money for that. They probably wouldn't own their own retail space. By the way,
so it wouldn't be a gaming thing at all. It would just be Amazon buying all the stores and using them as their own little spaces.
Could be a Best Buy situation where they're just there to display stuff and not actually buy anything in store. You go to Best Buy to tickle the stuff and then you go home and buy it where it's the best price. Sorry, I laughed because Abby laughed at my joke.
But I don't know, man. I don't know. It's
stop laughing.
The game thing in the UK is very interesting. The fact that they're not taking those games in anymore. We know GameStop's biggest moneymaker. So what's next? Is GameStop going to stop doing that too? I don't think they can.
Stop doing. I'm sorry.
I think they have to keep. I think that's the only thing keeping them afloat.
Is
used games and used consoles.
Well, they have to keep selling that, but there's we already talked about this. There's no game. There's 80. What did you say? 80% less games, physical games.
It's 80% people are 80% of the games are digital at this point that are being sold.
So that means
and that counts PC too. That's a lot. That's everything. So.
Yeah, but but
that was in 2018 actually. So
it's probably way more than that.
It's way more now.
It's probably like 90%. 95. GameStop's, they have to adjust with that. Well, this podcast has nothing to do with GameStop, but it has everything to do with Game.
Well, I mean, the game thing.
The company in UK who is no longer accepting trade-ins, which they must have another idea. I think Spawnwave, was it, who had suggested that they'll sell like board games and physical games, like real games, not just video games. That's how they'll make their money.
That makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's a need for that for sure. I do like to hop into a store to check out some board games and stuff. I don't usually buy
big
much
on board games.
For parties, man. Parties, hanging out with people. That's about it.
See, I still want to play the board games like on the Switch.
I mean, I love me some Clue.
Like
Uno? I know you love your
played
Uno
on the Switch, man. Listen, it's a great time. It's a good time. Okay, it is.
If there's something special, again. It's all the same feeling. It's all related. The same feel, the feeling of me playing physical games is the same feeling that I get when I pick up a physical deck of cards to play with my friends. It's the same idea. So,
I don't know. We're here. It's happening.
Are you laughing at me now, Miss G? Because I have no friends. We don't play games. Yeah, that's what she's laughing at me for. Yeah.
Burn.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. She's like, "What friends, dumbass?" True.
Oh man.
Got a sound for that, Drip? Like something to. You got a womp womp. Oh, you got a womp 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 now. Didn't you change out? Oh, you've had that. Yeah.
I don't know. I got a few new ones. I got this one.
Play your new ones. That's an old one. Gobble gobble gobble.
I know.
I made that.
It's an oldie but a goodie. I got.
What's the matter with you?
That's a good one.
There she blows.
Where's the new ones? These are the old ones.
These are new.
What?
Oh, that one.
Son
Yeah.
of a biscuit eater.
I like the what? You can play that. That one can be played 15 times an episode because when I talk, half the time you have to go.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's why I got it.
If you guys think that I'm not aware of how bad I am at talking and I have a podcast, I'm aware. I'm aware.
We both know.
We all know here. I try.
Sometimes we just got to take it slow. We work through it. We get to the end of the sentence.
The reading
part.
When I had to read that, sometimes when I go to read something, and it's been like this since I was a kid. I go to read something, and I read it with the perfect inflection, perfectly fluid, perfect pacing. It was perfect. There's other times I go to read something, and I'm saying in between every single word, and I'm stopping and starting, and have to restarting. That was tonight. I could not. I'm sorry for that quote I had to read tonight. I don't know what was going on.
Yeah, I think you did fine. I think it was great. Good job.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
You did wonderful. I think we're done here, Geeb.
I think we are, Drip. This was the most like radio-y I think we've ever been. Podcasty. I don't know. This is a good one. I think it's a very good episode.
It's very professional. Very well done.
It was a great episode. Thank you guys for joining us. If you don't leave, because if you're watching this live stream, you got more content coming your way. We're going to be hanging out in the after show. If you're listening to this podcast on audio platforms or checking it out on YouTube after the live stream has ended, we're going to sign off for now. And we're going to see you guys next week.
See you later.